What is going on, FUD Nation, and welcome back. Today we're going to do an episode I am quite sure that many of you will enjoy, and that is that I will be revealing my portfolio by percentages, not by exact quantities, of the cryptocurrencies that I'm holding going into this next bull run. It really does feel like things have turned bullish as of recent, and as much as I was a permabull back in 2017 and early 18, I turned kind of bearish towards the end of the year. I'm sure you guys know that. Of course, we could just be testing these, 5 to 6K highs and go down lower again. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but it certainly feels like there's a resilience in this market that can't be denied. And so let's go through my bull run portfolio and how I'm stacking up my portfolio for the coming bull season. Number one coin in my portfolio has always been and will always be, I'm pretty sure, Bitcoin. Now, many people don't see why this is the case, but you can think of Bitcoin, even though it's a little bit slower, a little bit older, think of it like the gold of the blockchain. It's heavily secured, it's being protected like Fort Knox, and they are building incredible utilities for it, second layer solutions, now decentralized exchanges, all kinds of really cool things are going into Bitcoin. Some of the biggest names in finance, the New York Stock Exchange parent company ICE, as well as Starbucks, many leading retailers are looking to utilize the Bitcoin blockchain. We also have Twitter's founder Jack Dorsey looking to implement Bitcoin Lightning Network in various ways. There's a lot of very interesting and very bullish things happening around the Bitcoin blockchain. And for that reason, I do believe that Bitcoin has a chance to become the global reserve currency. Now, sitting at about $5,000, I believe that Bitcoin has a very easy chance of 100x. That means getting to $500,000. When I say easy, I mean I'm comparing it to the market cap of gold. I'm comparing it to, the total currency in the world. Though I do believe that governments will eventually issue their own cryptocurrencies. In the end, if you're going crypto, why wouldn't you want the most trusted, most international, best, most secure form of currency instead of the off-brand thing that any of these governments are going to do? Anyway, what I can say for sure is that Bitcoin, I think, has a lot of legs in it to become the most trusted currency in the world. And in doing so, I believe that the gains could be upwards of 100 or even 1,000x over the long term. I'm talking decades here, but that's still a possibility in my mind that Bitcoin could reach those levels. So for me, Bitcoin is always going to be at least 30 to 40% of my portfolio. It's my rock, it's my nest egg, and it is the one that I have the most faith in. Trust is a big deal, and the amount of time something's been working is one of the key factors in how much people trust it. So even though these new hot altcoins might be cheaper, faster, better, the reality is they're not as trusted, and trust is a huge, very important variable in analyzing currencies such as Bitcoin. Now, as we move on down the list, I'm not going to be using that variable as much because I don't believe that these other coins are going to serve necessarily as reserve currencies or new types of gold or stuff like that. They're going to have other purposes, very different from Bitcoin in my humble opinion. And for that reason, they have the chance to grow dramatically, maybe not as much overall as Bitcoin, but potentially very dramatically and produce a lot of gains. All the other coins in my portfolio are 10% or under of my portfolio. The next coin in my portfolio is Stellar Lumens. Now, many of you who follow the channel know that I love Stellar Lumens. And that's not only because I'm a big fan of Jed McCaleb, who's been one of the most influential thought leaders in this crypto space. Jed was the originator of the XRP ledger for the company Ripple, as well as the infamous Bitcoin exchange Mt. Gox. Now, Jed's really been on the forefront of a lot of things, and when he created Stellar Lumens, he really did it with a holistic vision of how 5, 10, 20 years down the line, this coin would evolve. I do believe that Stellar's mission of bringing financial services to the entire world is one that I support. I also believe that this coin will continue to grow in a very reliable way, and I personally have stocked up a lot of Stellar Lumens in this off season. So Stellar Lumens comes in number 2 at 10% of my holdings. The next coin on my list might surprise you, and that is Ontology. I actually have a ton of Ontology, and I've been following this coin since its infancy in early 2018. The team behind Ontology is an absolutely stellar, really elite Chinese team here that has very well established connections to the Chinese government. I actually did an in-depth interview with Jun Lee, the founder of Ontology, just a few weeks ago, right as Ontology was about, 60, 70 cents. I had been stocking up in that 50 to 70 cent range. Now Ontology is well above $1.50, so I did very well in that early stage of this trade. I believe Ontology is going to sail right up to $10 where it was. I honestly believe this coin could end up at $100 one day, hopefully in the not too distant future, but I could see that happening. One of the most important and exciting things about Ontology is that Ontology is trying to connect real world institutions like insurance, medical, identity, things that really run our everyday lives in the real world to the blockchain and make them useful on the blockchain and also private and trustworthy on the blockchain. You can think of Ontology as a trust layer on the blockchain that can really interoperate with all these other blockchains and applications. I see Ontology as incredibly innovative and with an incredibly strong team behind it. For that reason, and for the bonus reason that Ontology produces a gas dividend. Gas is what you use to pay the network fees on the Ontology network. And for a short period of time, gas was actually being traded at equal in value to Ontology. Gas is producing about a 15% dividend. So if you have 1,000 Ontology, then you'll get 150 gas tokens every year. And that's not too shabby considering Ontology could go up tremendously in value. Same with those gas tokens, and you're getting paid essentially just to hold it. It's one of the ways that they're removing transaction fees from the network. But what it means is that if you're holding a lot of Ontology, my prediction is that you're going to be a very happy camper when you combine the potential increase in value with the gas dividend that's being paid out. So for that reason, Ontology is number 3 on my list, also at 10% of my holdings. Next on my list is the now infamous BNB token at 8% of my holdings. Now, BNB is the token that was created for the Binance exchange, which is most days of the year the #1 exchange in the world. Binance really pioneered this whole crypto to crypto environment where they started listing every kind of altcoin under the sun. During the 2017 bull run, that's just what people wanted, was to trade their Bitcoin for all these exotic altcoins that were pumping like crazy. And that's what people did. They moved over to Binance, great user experience, great customer support, and really they don't bother you too much as a user. They make things easy on you. And for that reason, they've been able to retain a ton of liquidity and volume, and their token BNB has sailed, especially in the wake of their announcement that they're creating their own blockchain, and BNB is going to be the key to utilizing that blockchain or launching your own token on that blockchain. And they are charging a pretty penny to launch a token on BNB on the blockchain. That means that you're going to have to pay over $100,000, and it's probably a lot more now that BNB has gone up, over $100,000 last time I checked, just to mint a coin on the BNB blockchain. What that means is that yes, it is pay to play. But there's a bonus to that in that probably only really good tokens with that kind of liquidity can get on that blockchain. That means that if people want to use that blockchain and launch a token, they need to go and spend a lot of money getting BNB. And there was a lot of buying pressure on the BNB charts in the lead up to the launch of their chain. To me, Binance is expanding rapidly and drastically throughout the blockchain world, and that BNB token is only going to go up and up in value. I could see it at $100 or maybe even more as time goes on. It's really hard to tell. It's already at $20. It was the first coin to really decouple and just surge through the bear market into bullish territory, rapidly eclipsing its Bitcoin all-time high and very close to eclipsing its US dollar all-time high, even with Bitcoin at a fraction of its prior highs. So it's a very impressive token and one that should absolutely not be overlooked. Next on my list, we move into the DApp platform tokens, and leading that charge is none other than EOS. Now, EOS has been one of the most talked about cryptocurrencies probably over the last 3 years. They ran the biggest ICO in the history of ICOs, raking in a cushy $4 billion over the course of their 1-year-long ICO period. Those funds are being now funneled back to young, innovative developers as they build projects on EOS. And to me, as a career-long software tech startup entrepreneur, I can tell you that users and products are king. Everything else is just noise. So if you're a DApp platform, the only thing you should be caring about is cool products that attract users. And that's exactly what EOS is doing. For that reason, EOS comes in 5th on my list at 7%. Tied for 5th place is also another young DApp platform out of China that you might know of called Tron. Let me hear you, haters. I know you're out there. Everyone seems to have a problem with Tron, and that's because of their marketing tactics and a lot of other factors. I get it. But in the end, Tron is winning in a lot of ways. They're bringing in users, they're bringing in DApps, and they are hitting their goals almost unlike any other platform. To me, there are only really 2 DApp platforms. It's EOS and Tron. Yes, Ethereum started this game, but it has fallen so far behind that I don't believe it can catch up. And right now, yes, I am a bit partial towards Tron because I'm building my own DApp on Tron, which I will be showing to you in the next couple of days, and I couldn't be more excited to preview to you the work that we've been doing and show you what I know to be the most ambitious blockchain game ever created. So hold on to your seats and get ready for that. But just know I don't see Tron going away anytime soon. And all of the haters in the world won't stop this project from absolutely mooning in the next bull run. Whether that happens in 2019, 2020, or 2025, I don't care because it's going to be happy times for whoever's holding those TRX. The one thing that EOS and Tron both have in common is that they have a ton of money. They had huge ICOs and they've done an amazing job at managing their funds, and they have great market makers. That means that as the market starts to tick upward, they will help sort of pour fuel on that fire. Whether or not you like that, price action tends to be the best marketing, and I do believe that both of those projects, for the fact that they have incredibly sound financials behind them, huge teams, and a ton of usage, products, DApps, and live activity on the blockchains makes them incredible players for the next bull run. Next, we have another payment rail, probably the most famous and popular of them all, and that is XRP, coming in at 6% of my portfolio. Now, XRP has been incredibly controversial since it was first announced in 2013 as OpenCoin. I've done some really deep dives on XRP and Stellar Lumens. You can check those out by searching my videos, and you can see essentially how deep the rabbit hole goes with XRP. However, I still believe, regardless of all the controversy and all the FUD, that this is a very legitimate project, that they will make some amazing partnerships, and that when the next bull run comes around, they have a chance to regain their, prior 2017 luster as one of the higher gaining tokens. I just believe that they're going to do incredibly well. They're down at about 35 cents, down from $4, so that's a lot of room to run and grow, and I personally do believe that they will have another big surge back upward. Next, we have ADA Cardano, down at 2% of my holdings. Now, I'm just a big fan of Charles Hoskinson. I think he's one of the visionaries, one of the thought leaders of the cryptocurrency space. He was a co-founder of Ethereum. He worked on BitShares and Steem, and now he's founded his own 3.0 blockchain, which is supposed to be fast, scalable, and solve a lot of smart contract financial situations on the blockchain. Honestly, I found the progress to be overly academic and a bit slow from Cardano, but I still have hopes that this project is going to absolutely explode in the next bull run, as they should be releasing more and more versions, more and more functionality. I just believe in the team here. They have a lot of smart people and a lot of things going for them over at Cardano, and Charles is very good at keeping that project in the news. I have very high hopes for this project, and that's why Cardano is in at 2% of my holdings. Cardano is down to 8.5 cents. At one point, it was over $1.20. This has a lot of room to grow, literally like a 15x just to get back to its prior highs. That's certainly a bet that I would take, and I think it's a great time to be getting involved with ADA. Next, we have the classic Ethereum at 1% of my holdings. Now, I'll be the first to admit I was a huge Ethereum fanboy back in the day, and that has changed significantly as I've seen Ethereum really fail to innovate, fail to grow, fail to do what I think they should do. Nonetheless, it's still a very significant part of our cryptocurrency ecosystem. I think they'll continue to release stuff. They definitely have a huge team. They have a lot to fall back on, but I think the days of Ethereum reigning supreme are just simply over, but I'm just not willing to give up completely yet. I still believe that DApps and tokens and just having functional blockchain infrastructure is just so important that, hey, I'm pulling for Casper, I'm pulling for sharding, I'm pulling for the next generation of Ethereum to really scale and give us that very vital piece of blockchain infrastructure. But I do feel like EOS and Tron are further ahead and have more room to grow. For that reason, I have more EOS and Tron, but I'm still holding on to a little bit of ETH. Next, we have Litecoin coming in also at 1% of my holdings. Now, Litecoin to me is just one of those OG coins. They have a very decentralized mining network. It goes so far back. The cryptocurrency roots are so deep. I just think it's going to continue to grow with the market. It might not always be a top 10, but I see it being a top 20 for quite a while to come. And for that reason, I could just see it continuing to grow. I have it here at 1%. These aren't a lot of new buys on my Litecoin. I just haven't sold it all. I think that the recent pump from Litecoin from 35 up to 95 just shows you that there are still big supporters for Litecoin across the world, and that as the Lightning Network becomes more vital, I could see Litecoin developing more innovative uses, as Charlie Lee has allowed you to sort of repower your Bitcoin holdings from the Litecoin blockchain via the Lightning Network, and there's just going to be a lot of innovation to sort of offload some of the brunt of that load from Bitcoin onto the Litecoin blockchain as we build up Lightning Network functionality. So for that reason, I think LTC will continue to have its place. I have it here at 1%. Next, we have Basic Attention Token coming in at 1% of my holdings. Now, I don't expect incredible gains from this, but I'm just a big fan of the tech. The Brave browser is a great browser. They have millions of active users, and they're really pioneering this get rid of the ads and go straight from the advertiser to the viewer, to the consumer. And that is a relationship that I think blockchain should really cultivate. And that's something that I just believe is the future. So for that reason, I'm a big fan of Brave and BAT, and I have about 1% of my holdings in the Basic Attention attention token. Now, the rest of my holdings are all under 1% of my total holdings. I'm going to name just a few just so you get a sense of them, but I actually have a lot of these tokens. I've picked up so many tokens across my time in crypto. So to be honest, this list could go on and on and on, but here's just a few standouts that I think should be on your radar. Certainly projects that I believe in, but they just don't occupy a significant part of my holdings. First off, we have VeChain Thor. VeChain Thor is a supply chain and logistics focused crypto. They also have a lot of different things that they're doing. They even have some gaming projects. They're expanding their functionality to include more projects, but they just have a rockstar team, Sunny Liu behind them. They're always releasing crazy news, partnerships like you wouldn't believe with multi-billion-dollar unicorn companies. They just announced a partnership with Haier, one of the biggest manufacturers of refrigerators in the world. I just think that they'll continue to go on and do some very interesting things. They have partnerships to build smart cities in China, so I just have high hopes for what VeChain might accomplish, but again, under 1% of my holdings. Same can be said of Walton Chain. Now, Walton Chain has experienced a lot of FUD of late, with some people not even believing that their sister chain or their sub-chain, Friar Chain, exists, trying to call out that they used their office, that they did an office chain through Friar Chain that was faked. There's a lot of FUD around Walton Chain, but I still believe in this project, as I believe in the space of supply chain logistics cryptos. So I'm holding a small amount of Walton Chain, still hoping that this project turns around. And I believe that with its partnerships and its patents and its plans for the future, that there is a chance it could totally blast off in the next bull run. Walton Chain is sitting at just $2, and at one point it was over $40. So I believe that it has a good chance of getting some great gains and at least making a run back to those prior highs. I also have EOS token and Holo token, both very scalable blockchains, as well as a laundry list of other coins. Those are my holdings though. Everything else starts to become very small in significance and nothing I wish to list here. But that is really the bulk of my portfolio as I go into the next bull run. Obviously, I have a few crypto businesses and they have their own holdings, their own practices and stuff. And so those I don't consider my personal holdings. Obviously, these percentages would be thrown off tremendously if I counted the holdings of the businesses that I run. I'm not doing that because I want you to get more of an accurate reading of how I would be managing my portfolio if I didn't also run a ton of crypto businesses. But nonetheless, these are the coins that I'm holding in my personal wallet, and this is how they break down. Now, of course, I also have my own project in the space, Evo. Now, for the purposes of this video, I did not include it as I don't actually get to touch those coins for several years, really. But obviously, considering I spend all day and night working on the project, I'm very, very excited about what the future holds for that project as well. If you want to know more about what my project is doing, we're going to be doing a huge update very soon on this channel, showing you all the progress we've made in addition to the already existing DApps that we had. And believe me, you are going to be very, very excited, just as we are. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you guys agree with this list? What coins on this list do you love? What coins on this list do you absolutely hate? And what coins did I miss? What are you holding that you wish I mentioned? Maybe I'll cover it in an upcoming video. Leave me a comment in the comment section below if you enjoyed the video. Of course, like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed to FUD TV. I'm Elio Trades. You're watching FUD TV, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.